Welcome back. The investing game is actually quite simple. It's all about assets and liabilities. Assets are anything that you own. Could be a company or a business, could be a piece of real estate or stocks. And liabilities, on the other hand, it's the money you owe on them. In the long term, our objective is to increase our assets and decrease our liabilities so that our net worth is as high as possible, looking at it from financial wealth perspective. My name is Erkka Suvanto. Some of you call me EJ. I'm here on social media to build a legacy for my kids and pass on all the information I have ever collected to empty my tank. I'm a real estate investor and an entrepreneur. Welcome back, and like I said, let's talk about assets and liabilities, and specifically focusing on real estate. So if our goal in life is to increase our assets, increase the value of them by taking good care of whatever we own, real estate is no different. If I own a property that is rented out, I want to take good care of it. The tenants, I need to choose wisely. I hope that they pay their rent on time and make sure that they take good care of the property while living in it. But if we look at it purely from numbers perspective, as far as how we can increase the value of the asset we own, we can do it in three ways with real estate. We can buy low, we can rehab right, and we can sell high. A few words about each and one of these. So when you buy low, when you know what you're doing, you understand human psychology, market conditions, what to offer, and when to offer, you can build equity when you buy low. Meaning, let's say there's a $130,000 property and I get to buy it for 110. The extra 20,000 is the equity I was able to build along the way. Same thing with rehabbing. The idea here is that the cost of those rehabs is lower than the value increase of the very same rehabs or the repairs that I just ended up doing. Using another example, let's say I own a property and I ended up replacing the windows and it cost me 20,000. But the value increase of the house is 40. So that extra 20 is again basically equity that I built. Sell high is something that we won't be focusing on that much. I view real estate as a commodity, and most of the properties that we deal with, most of my colleagues and I, meaning mainstream condos, apartments, and single-family homes, their value gets determined by a third party, whether it's an appraiser or a real estate agent hired by a bank or a lender. So this is typically very difficult. So a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house is worth whatever it's worth because of the comparables being abundant in the marketplace. So we'll be focusing on number one and number two. So I have actually one real life example that I completed. This transaction I did a couple of years ago. It's a fourplex, and I'm gonna populate the numbers here on the whiteboard and show you exactly how I was able to build equity with my partner in this deal, and how then the extra equity and the value increase we were able to transfer that and use it as leverage in financing then deal number two. Okay, so this fourplex that we bought, the purchase price was 150. We felt this was a really good deal because the land itself that the house sits on is probably worth at least 150. Yes, the property was in very bad condition, so we had to put a lot of money into it. How much? 300,000 to be exact. So the total investment of this particular deal was 450,000. But the good news then came after the remodel was completed. So the value now, according to a third party, went from 450, which is the total cost of what we purchased and rehabbed it for, went up to 650. So we were able to build 200,000 in equity by buying low and doing the right remodeling. This is very important. This is why real estate is such an effective way to increase one's net worth, because if you know what you're doing and you focus on buying, you make a lot of offers, negotiate with the sellers, and maybe 1 out of 20 or 1 out of 30 deals that you negotiate ends up being one of these home runs that builds that equity for you, and then you can leverage it along the way. Another thing to understand with real estate is loan to value. In my previous videos, we have talked about leverage, how it comes in 4 different forms. There's people, capital, code, and content. The 2 first ones are the oldest forms of leverage, people and capital. You need somebody to follow you if you're the leader, so that's the people. You need somebody to give you the money if you want to borrow it. And then code and content being the new forms of leverage. We won't go deeper into those. There are other videos on my channel as well about that. But we want to use leverage because that's how we grow our business. Even if I had, in this case, the 450 in my pocket, I wouldn't use all of it, assuming, of course, the loan terms are favorable. But by using somebody else's money, we can grow the business, buy another deal, and another deal after that. So then, using this example, so 70% loan to value out of 450, that is 315,000, if I remember correctly. So then, own money. So that's the difference between the total investment and the loan. So that is 135,000. So if this was my first deal and I don't have any other collateral, I don't have, for instance, a free and clear property that's worth 500,000 that I could bring over and use it as a collateral, meaning as extra security in the eyes of the bank, I would need to find a way to come up with this 135,000. 2 options, either out of my own pocket or using a partner. The partner route is valid. I have used that myself in the past as well. I, for instance, owned one company in the US that was 50-50 between me and my partner. He brought all the money, I did all the work, and we split the profits 50-50. That's a very effective way to get started in the real estate game. Same thing here, 135,000 has to come from somewhere. Since this is deal number 1, assuming I haven't done anything else before, I would need to come up with the 135. This wasn't my first deal, so we were able to finance it some other way. I'm not going to go into details here, that's not the point of the video. But let's assume here that I had to finance the 135 by bringing it from my savings. Okay, so then going to deal number 2. So this is, by the way, not real. I'm just illustrating how this is actually real up to here, but this is, I just want to show you guys how this extra equity, this 200K, can be turned into financing and growing your business, financing the next deal and growing your business. So I'm going to skip rehab and everything else here. Total, just use loan to value as the same thing. So using the same loan to value formula, a bank would give us a 210,000 loan. So the own money requirement in this deal is 90,000. Now, here's the interesting part. So the benefit number 1 with real estate, when you're a professional investor, is this. So you build equity. That gives me 2 options. So every time you have a good deal, there's no shortage of money. And when there's no shortage of money, when your numbers support it, you have multiple exit plans. You always want to have that backup plan. Here, I can do 2 things. I can sell this, I can flip this property. There's enough spread here. Or I can keep it as a long-term buy and hold or rental, which is the thing that we ended up doing. But now coming back to the financing part and the second benefit. So now, if this again was deal number 1, I had no savings, I had no other collateral, I would need to come up with 90K. But since I have now this deal here that I also own, I can use the 200K. Since my loan to value is based on, the 70% is based on this, I now have 200,000 worth of extra collateral built into this deal, right? So that's the beauty of it. So there's 140,000 of free money to be used in financing the next deal. So 70% here, that's 140K. And now this 140K can be transferred over. And with this money, I can buy the next deal without coming up with any money of my own. And this is where real estate gets really interesting, because we can use the older properties as leverage, assuming we can build equity and we can increase its value. So, hope this helps. Until my next video.